Hi guys, welcome back to Art Time with Mrs. Jones. Today we're going to be revisiting our coffee filter art lesson that we did a few weeks ago, but we're going to be adding a little bit of a twist to it. So in the first phase, you are going to need a coffee filter, a yellow, orange, and red marker, as well as a spray bottle. You might also want to have some paper towels handy, and if you don't have a coffee filter, you can actually use a paper towel in place of it altogether. For the second phase, you will need a piece of black or dark blue paper. You'll need a white crayon, a stick pen or push pen, and a glue stick. Now phase 3 is going to be adding all of these together. You might be wondering what we're going to make. We're going to be making the planet Jupiter on the coffee filter. While that is drying, then we will do the background on the black or dark blue paper with some stars. And then phase 3 will be adding them all together to create our masterpiece. So if you want to go ahead and gather your supplies, we'll get started. All right guys, so we're going to start with our coffee filter. Now if you don't have a coffee filter, I'm going to show you how you can make a circle out of a paper towel. So you'll take your paper towel and fold it in half. This is your folded side. Fold it again. Now here is your folded corner right here. So you will take this corner, and this is the center of your circle. So you're going to cut a pizza slice right here. So you want to go around and make like a slice of pizza. Okay. And then when you open this up, you have a circle or an oval or pretty close to the shape that you would need to make this. Now you can use the cut paper towel or you can use your coffee filter, whichever you prefer. I'm gonna put something underneath here so that when I color, it doesn't bleed through. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a piece of paper underneath there. And then I'm gonna grab my markers. Now we're gonna be using our warm colors, which are yellow, orange, and red. And we're gonna be creating the surface of Jupiter here. Now, I'm gonna start with yellow because if I use the darker colors first, then it's gonna bleed onto those colors and you don't wanna ruin your yellow marker. So we're gonna put yellow wavy lines horizontally across the circle and go all the way down to the bottom of the circle. Once you've finished with your yellow, you'll move on to the orange. Orange is the next lightest color, so we'll use orange next. And you're gonna wanna do some wavy lines next to the yellow. Don't cover the yellow up. It's okay if it happens in spots, but you don't wanna cover it all the way up. And lastly, when you've finished with the orange, you will move on to the red. Now, before we put away the red marker, we're going to add a big red spot down here. And we're gonna add that because on the surface of Jupiter, there is a storm that has been raging for a long time on the surface, and it shows up in satellite imagery as this giant red swirling spot. So we're gonna go ahead and add that right down there. All right, so the next thing that we're gonna do is spray this. Now, I don't wanna ruin my black paper by spraying it, so I'm going to put my planet onto a paper towel so that when I spray it, it'll absorb some of that overspray. Now, I'm just using a regular water bottle, and you don't wanna spray it too much or it'll really wash out your colors. So just a few sprays, and you'll see those colors start to bleed together. Now the longer that it sits, the more those colors will bleed. And if you spray it too much, it's gonna bleed way too much and it's gonna take forever to dry. So I'm gonna go ahead and place this onto a drying rack, which actually is just a cooling rack for cookies. I'm gonna slide this over here and move this. I'm gonna carefully drag this over to the side. The reason I'm putting this on a cooling rack is so that it can get air underneath it as well. It'll help it dry faster. All right, so we're gonna move into phase 2. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my black paper, and it does have a little bit of marker that's bled through the coffee filter. Doesn't matter, but I'm gonna just flip it over just because, why not? And I'm gonna take my white crayon. Now I know that I'm gonna be putting Jupiter right in the middle, so I don't necessarily need to add a lot of stars to the very middle, but I'm gonna go ahead and put some white dots all around the border. All right, so I have my perimeter of stars here. Now, if you want to keep it like that, that's perfect. You do not have to add anything else to this. If you want to, and if your grown-up is there to help you, you can take a little push pin, okay? And if you hold your paper up, you can push the pin through these little white dots or right next to the little white dots. Now the reason for this is if you want to hang this up in your window, then the sunlight will come through your paper and you will see little dots of light all around the planet. Be really careful that you don't push through on top of your finger or you're just gonna stab yourself in the finger, and no one wants that. The only red we want on here is the marker from our coloring. So I have all of my little holes poked through my white circles so that whenever I hang it up, I can see that light shining through. Now let's go check on our planet to see if it's dry. All right, so I had to wait a little bit, but Jupiter is now dry. So I am going to glue Jupiter right here. Now I want this storm to be right here on this side, so I'm gonna flip it over. I'm gonna take my glue stick, and I'm going to put glue around the perimeter or on the circumference of the planet. Give it a couple stripes in the middle. And then I will flip this guy over and massage it onto the black paper, okay? Now, this is gonna show up for just a little bit until that dries and then that will disappear. But here we have Jupiter in space. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I know that it was very time consuming and that you had to wait for your paper to dry before you could glue anything on, but it turns out really super cool, and hanging in a window with those little stars twinkling through, it looks amazing. I cannot wait to see yours hanging up, so make sure you share a picture with me. Until next time, guys, keep creating. Love you, bye.